Hello, everybody. This is Gary Kay, and you are watching a special edition of my rants and raves. Of course, you may recognize my guest. We've talked a number of times leading up to shows. TJ Adams is the Director of Product Marketing for Q-SYS. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Glad to talk to you again.
Well,
we always have our annual chat.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you catching up with me because I know you're on the road and you've got a lot of stuff going on leading up to flying to Amsterdam in a couple of weeks. So you're doing this in a hotel room at the last minute request. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this. But I wanted to make sure we had a chance to talk because at ISE in Amsterdam in 2 weeks, you're going to launch something that is new to the industry. Like no one is doing what you're about to launch into the industry from what I can see and from what I understand right now. So first talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, our big news is that we have finally moved the next step in what we think is the evolutionary process of processing, going towards more of an off-the-shelf hardware scheme and being pure software. And so our announcement is to have a Dell server. We're now a Dell resale partner, Q-SYS, and we'll have a Dell server at the show running our current Q-SYS software and in a much more powerful way than ever before.
Yeah, and basically you're going to take the Q-SYS software, which required for lack of a better term, a Q-SYS or a QSC product hardware piece to run it, and you're taking it out and making it capable of being run on a network just using a standard off-the-shelf server. So the software
That's right.
is going to be an independent, self-standing product.
Correct. That's right. And in the first days, we'll definitely sell it still bundled with that Dell server through our normal integration channel. So don't worry, all of our integrator friends and all of that we would change that channel. We are still going to support that hardware just like as if it were our own server product that we had been selling, because many folks in the industry know we have an enterprise core that we sell today. It just so happens we're going to deprecate that product in the next coming years and just move completely to an off-the-shelf server model.
And ultimately, this is the direction the entire industry is going, don't you think? I mean, we've been talking about this convergence of AV IT. Ultimately, that includes taking everything out of the hardware and putting it in the cloud, putting it on a server, putting it on the network. And this is sort of the first step of doing that. I mean, you can't do it all at once. Number one, we have technological issues, right? We can't totally do that with video, with all forms of video. We even have some issues with audio, as even customers experience just trying to do Skype calls and things like that. But taking the control aspect of it and putting it in the cloud or on the server or whatever, however you want to call it, that's the first step, right?
Well, actually, in this case, we're doing the control as well as, because QSC is a full-blown control solution, but we're also putting our audio processing engine up on that Dell server. So we believe it's the first time, at least in our space, that any AV manufacturer has come up with a way to take their existing feature set, their existing, like auto mixing and echo canceling, all of those things you think of, especially in the conferencing industry for DSP, and running those all up on that same server along with our control processor. So it's actually abstracting away two elements. And as far as video is concerned, we released AV bridging, and the AV bridging solution will also work with this same server, just off the network, just like if it were one of our own servers. So it's actually very much identical to the current Q-SYS paradigm. It's just that it's now running on off-the-shelf hardware. And when we take the next steps towards video elements and distribution product, think a network video platform, as we extend out Q-SYS, that will also work with the off-the-shelf core. So we believe, again, we've taken the first step in the industry to actually get this done, to get it to work this way.
So you kind of hinted at two things. So let me cover each one. First, I want to cover the video. I mean, that's going to be the next logical question is, at what point in time are you going to allow all video to be routed and matrixed, I guess you'd say, in the cloud and on the network? Is there a reason why you're not doing that now, and when can we expect that? You've already hinted to doing that. What is that?
No, the fact is we're in progress on a lot of that product concept, and we aren't ready to make announcements of its feature set or its availability or any of that. This is more like a teaser, if you will, that yes, a lot of people have asked me in the industry, is QSC going to take the next step? To your point, I agree. It's the only logical last frontier for us, at least in the traditional meeting room technology space. Yeah, because I mean, we're not going to do microphones. We have Shure as our partner primarily, and other microphone manufacturers as well. We're not going to do displays. That's kind of silly, you know. That's a commodity space. And so it really does make sense to do video distribution, AV bridging, you know, DSP processing like we know it, and maybe some new features that we come out with, but it's still, you know, the state of the art. And so yes, we're working on that, but I'm not ready to go into not trying to hide anything. We just aren't ready to talk about that yet because we're just not there yet. But it's coming.
So the way that would work, I mean, the way I've always envisioned it would work is that, so you have these kind of on-ramps and off-ramps. So you use an on-ramp to get it on the network, use an off-ramp to bring it off, because ultimately in our industry, we're still dealing with hardware. You still have a projector there, and the projector doesn't have a control interface to connect a network directly into it and make it where it can control the sources being plugged into it. We sort of always think about it as, you know, it's an Epson projector, or it's a Barco projector, or a Christie projector. You need something in between to say, okay, this is what I want to display on there. And I kind of look at that as some sort of off-ramp with some sort of control interface. You sort of got that vision as well?
Yeah, that's basically, you know, if you look around at all the networked I/O you see out there, as well as HD-based all of those products do exactly like you described. They just use different technology underpinnings to do it. And, you know, QSC is a network company. We really want to focus on the IT space, especially at the enterprise level. Enterprise IT, they really want these new solutions to be part of their network ecosystem. So you can expect that it will have some network elements where it makes sense. And, you know, you alluded to earlier the fact that video is hard, right? Video is hard to make work on a network. And so where it makes sense, we'll make it network, and where it doesn't make sense, we'll go with the latest state-of-the-art of technology. And in general sense, that's QSC, and my attitude actually is, philosophically, we want to just use as much mainstream technology, not just from the technology in the AV space that we know today, but technology at large. And that's what's given us the broader thinking to be able to, for instance, run our software on a Dell server.
So that brings me to my second question, because you kind of walked right into that. So you talked specifically about the Dell server, but I mean, if this is software being put on a server, why is it just Dell? And wouldn't it be logical that ultimately, if I'm going into I'm an AV integrator, I'm going into an enterprise to sell this, why couldn't they put it on their existing servers?
Yeah, it's a great logical next step for us, quite frankly. And we're not opposed to doing that. But there are specific requirements that we have to maintain on the network layer and then on the processing layer within whatever server we target. And so what will likely occur is that over time, in the next few years, we'll probably come across some big enterprise customer exactly like you described that wants us to do that. And we will have to retarget the same operating system image that we ran on the Dell server and modify and make it work with the specific hardware that maybe it's in an HP server or maybe it's a Supermicro server.
Right now it's optimized for the system that you're speccing it with, which is this particular Dell server. And they will be able to, you said you've become a partner with Dell, so they'll be able to buy it packaged that way and just drop it on a network. And obviously, I mean, Dell is a respected brand among the IT community, so it's not going to be a problem. I mean, there'll be companies that you run into that are only HP or only another brand, but in general, Dell's, you know, as a drop-in server product is well respected, so you're not going to be problems there.
Yeah, and actually on that topic, Gary, if you don't mind me interjecting, I've talked to a lot of these enterprise IT customers that we're iterating this thinking with, okay? So we have very good connections with that community of people. And I've asked that specific question in the early days of our sort of planning around using Dell and partnering with them. And I actually learned a lot from that experience. And even I actually remember back to my past IT experience when I was an IT manager, that we had many different brands in our data center. Yeah. And many times those brands were brought in based on kind of a specific product scheme. So
for like
Cisco
security,
Call Manager.
Like they need security, and they got a server for that. And you have a server specifically for accessing the network or the internet, and a server specifically for HVAC and environmental control for a big building. Yeah. I totally.
So as an IT manager, putting my IT manager hat on, when I buy servers for myself from my back-end data systems like Exchange, or my email traffic, or when I buy desktop machines for my desktop users, I might center on HP. In fact, QSC does. We have HP as our sort of selected partner for our own internal IT. But we have other servers from other brands, and in fact, here we are partnering with Dell at the same time for our product. So I think it's really not an issue, I guess the point I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I just thought that logically that'd be the direction you'd go eventually. So you're going to be in Hall 7 again, and I think in the exact same space, Q170, which is where you were last year at ISC. So I would recommend people go by there, even if you're not a QSC integrator, and I'll tell you why. Because when you go to the other big control companies, this is the way they're going to do it in the future. I mean, they've basically telegraphed that you're not sort of reinventing the wheel here. And although you're the first one to really take it and put it on a separate server, you're not the first one to talk about it. So this is a good opportunity for the integrator community to go to the stand at ISC, and of course you'll have this at InfoComm, and see and understand how this is going to work, because ultimately we're going to have to become more IT centric. But the good thing about this is, in most of the cases that you're selling this into, you're selling it into, as you've mentioned, enterprise level people. They already get the IT side of it, and they're going to come, when you show up, they're going to come and not say, I don't want this on my network. They're going to say, it's about freaking time. Isn't that pretty much going to be the response?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's probably, interestingly enough, the early days of our AVIT thing, probably the one thing they were probably saying is, why do I still need this external box? And it's not just, I'm not talking about just control systems. They think about it with everything. I remember when the projectors first started having network ports, they were like, why don't all projectors have network ports? Or when they talk about switching and distribution, they think about, what about doing some of this on the network? But as we all know, there's legacy systems that are out there. You're going to put in a system where somebody's still bringing in a VGA laptop. They're going to put in a system where they're still going to be using a expensive $20,000 video conferencing system that still uses component video and still uses HDMI.
Right.
So you're going to have these legacy systems. So the good thing is you have time to get educated. This is not going to happen overnight. And although you guys are the first ones to launch it, this is an opportunity for you to get educated on the future and the way the future is going to work. Would you agree with that statement? I
totally agree. And, what I've actually shared with some of the integrators that have been let in on this secret a little early, and a few of them were like, oh my, am I going to have to learn how to image a server and manage, all of this stuff? And the nice thing is, this is a great gateway tool as well as a great gateway partner, I think, in QSC. Remember, QSC not that long ago was just a basic audio company, right?
Live sound.
Right, and 50 years of amplifier building and speaker design and all that. What better partner than frankly us that have had to go through those learning and growing pains at the product level and the voice of the customer level, trying to understand how we can best meet those needs going out into the future. Not today's needs even, but just tomorrow's. And we're here for you. We get it. We understand it's a hard switch, But look around you. You can see the old way of integrating a conference room is going away slowly but surely. Look at the Shure microphone that just came out. Yeah. That's a network endpoint. You don't need analog I/O in the room. So why are you putting a local processor in that room like you've been doing?
Sure. Sennheiser's doing it too.
Sennheiser,
and of course we're doing it today. I mean, that's basically what we're doing, you and I here. I agree with you. That brings up an interesting question. So let's say an integrator doesn't have the experience to be able to do this, but sells to enterprise customers, universities, and big corporations. How much hand-holding are you going to give them? I mean, because they're going to need some support from you, because they're not going to know that bridge between the AV way and the IT way.
A ton. In fact, we see that in of itself as a long-term opportunity to be a great educator partner to our integrator partner community. Okay. And that's going to be a must. And, the thing we haven't talked about here, we're such technology geeks, which is great, but there's also a lot of business implications to doing this in an IT way. You're going to see new business models from QSC and others, to be fair, that revolutionize how we sell product, how we support it, how we maintain it. And some of that's going to be a partnership agreement maybe with QSC to do some elements that the integrator resells to the end customer. So maybe QSC does some PMs for that customer, or and it's sold as a value-added resale service through the integration community. So I really think what's going to end up happening is that over time, not overnight, the AV integrator of the future is going to look more and more and more like a VAR. However, they're still going to have, and we all together as an AV community have a great amount of leadership to bring to IT. Because remember, they don't understand how to tune a room. They don't understand video color space. They don't understand a lot of the things that are part of our true value we bring. And I can't wait for a day that we are leaving behind us all the legacy hardware and gear and business models that we have to sort of wrap around that value and move forward towards a more pure environment where we can give that value to IT, but not get in their way with all of our quirky AV gear and business models. So I think over time, we're going to have a lot to help our integration community with.
Well, what I appreciate about this is I understand the technology, and I'm a geek like you, and I feel like I have a little bit of an ease into understanding sort of the bigger picture of all this. Mm-hmm. And what I do appreciate about how you guys are launching this is that you're not using disruptive, game-changing terms. You're saying, look, this is going to happen in the future. You're not using buzzwords. You're saying, we can do this now. We recognize that not everybody's going to do this. In fact, most people aren't going to do this right away. That it's going to be a transition time over some period of time. We're here. We have the old stuff, and we have the way to do it now, and we have the new way to do it. You choose which way to go, and we're going to help you either way. So I appreciate the fact that you're not scaring the hell out of the industry and saying this is the future and you have to move this way, but you're sort of easing them into it and then supporting them whichever way they want to go. And I think that's the way Shure did it with their microphone launch, as you mentioned, is they're like, look, we still have all those mics. In fact, we still have the mic we've had for 55 years. But now we have this new mic that is completely on the cloud and completely on the network, and you choose whether or not you want to use that or do your systems the way you've been doing them. So I appreciate that because in fact, all those claims of disruptive, game-changing products have never come to fruition for the most part. I mean, there have been, we all know, I remember the first time I saw an LCD projector. For me, it was like, wow, this definitely is going to be the future, right? There's certain things like that, TIs with DLP technology, you look at it, you go, okay, OLED, although it's taken a long time, you know that's the future, right? But at the same time, you recognize it doesn't happen overnight. So I appreciate the fact y'all are doing that. So you're going to be in Hall 7, booth Q170, same place you were last year. And of course, you can get more details on this at QSC.com or at ravepubs.com. If you go to our ISE microsite, we already have the information on the product at ravepubs.com/ISE2017. Of course, you can just do QSC in our search window, and you'll find it as well. And of course, go to QSC.com. So, TJ, thank you very much for joining me today. And again, I appreciate you doing this special because I know you're busy and you're in a hotel room. So I appreciate that.
No, it's always fun talking to you, Gary.
And I'll see you in 2 weeks and a few days.
Yeah, let's get some good Belgian beerware out there, okay?
Or stroopwafels.
There we go. Totally.
Even better. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and keep watching because we got a lot more to do. We're going to be talking. We'll talk live while we're at the show as well. So and you can follow all of our coverage at ravepubs.com. Thank you.